My name is Neil with Yarbrough & Sons. We got called out today because their air conditioner stopped working last night. Diagnosed that the contactor was pitted. And we're going to turn around and change the contactor and see if we can find any other issues going on with the system. Well, the first thing I've done is I made sure that the thermostat was calling for cool. I went upstairs, made sure that the blower was running, and noticed that this wasn't running. So when I came out here, you could hear the buzz of the contactor and you can see that it's pulled in. But when you check high voltage, you have high voltage on your line side, on your bottom of it, coming in, but on the other side of it, you still have 0 volts. That pitting is so bad that it's not allowing one leg to send voltage. The contactor is as old as the system, which is a 2007. Yeah, it's pretty common. That or the capacitors, usually the culprits, the first things that go out on the system. This is a contactor. It's a single pole contactor. You have voltage, it's constant on this side, but the contactor is on this side, and that's what's pitted on this. See how clean those contacts are? There's no blacking or anything like that. So what happens is the two metal pieces, when it calls for cool, it pushes in the magnet, creates a magnet, and it pushes this contact in. Well, over time, that contact creates small arcs, and them arcs build up to the point where it doesn't allow high voltage to go through this contact because of all the pitting. Gotcha. And if you want to see, I don't know if you can see it, it's all charred up, and that, or sometimes you'll see some burns on the cool side of it. That's a good sign of it's going bad too. Another good thing to know that most people won't understand is, so say you have your house you usually keep your house at 68 degrees. If you have your house at 68 degrees with a, like say 70% humidity, a high humidity, the temperature that you feel feels hotter than if your house was at 75 degrees, which is a lot easier for an air conditioner to bring the humidity down when it's a little bit higher temperature. It feels cooler at 75 degrees with the lower humidity than it does at 68 degrees with the higher humidity. In Oklahoma, we have about 2 months where it gets real humid due to the storms, due to spring coming up, and people think that their air conditioner is not performing how it should be, when it's just the simple fact that the humidity in the air outside is a lot higher than normal. Bump your temperature up just a touch and allow it to do its job, because over time, that temperature being at 75 degrees, it'll bring the humidity down quicker than at 68 degrees. I'm just ensuring that I put the wires where they're supposed to go on this before I start anything up, just so we don't harm anything else. That is correct. Okay, I'm gonna turn high voltage on, and then I'm gonna get the unit to call for cool. We do. Yes, so now I'm hooking up temperature probes, and I'm about to hook up my pressure probes to check refrigerant pressures to ensure that the refrigerant levels are proper, being that we do have a leak. I don't want to leave here knowing that we have a leak and it might be low on charge. I'm looking for some emery cloth so I can clean up that copper a little bit better, so I can get a better connection on my temperature probe. There you go. This will work. It's cleaning off all this stuff that's built up on this copper over the years to make it nice clean copper, so that I can get a good connection on these probes to get the proper reading. We look good. So this unit designs for a 10 degree subcool, and we're right at 9.4. We're right there. Our cool temperatures above freezing. Our condenser pressure is not too high, not crazy too high. So we're looking good. The superheat's not crazy high. So I was reading 11 amps on my compressor and right at 1 amp on my condenser fan motor, and the rating for the compressor is 15, so it's good. And the rating on the condenser fan motor is 1.4, which is good. So they're underneath that amp rating. That would indicate wear and tear. So you see how it has exposed copper on all this, and there's a chance that it could short out, and it could fry a transformer, the board, the thermostat. It could fry this board in here. Like there's a big chance that it harming a lot of parts. So I'm just going to bring it to the customer to make sure they're aware of that issue. So what I'll do is I'll fill out my invoice, and I will go talk to the customer about payment and other repairs. I talked to the customer and they approved me to repair it, and so I'm going to repair it real quick, and then we're going to make sure everything's up and running. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking this door off so that when I repair it, I can bring the wires into the condensers a little bit better, so it kind of hides it a little better from the elements. There's a leak on this system that we know of. We have dye in the system right now, and we're just giving it time to go through the system so we can find where that leak's at. And then we'll come back in about 3 weeks or so and search for some dye. Being that this thing holds 10 pounds or so, and they only had to put a couple of pounds in it to charge it, it's probably going to take it a bit to find that leak. Get that chance for that dye to really get into the system to show us exactly where it's leaking. All right, recap. On investigation, I found that the contactor was pulled in. It was calling for cool, but it wasn't allowing high voltage to go across the contactor due to pitting. I replaced the contactor. I also noticed that there was some thermostat wire that was exposed to the elements that was showing copper, and there's a chance of shorting. So I talked to a client about repairing that, and they approved. I've repaired that and tested cool, and everything is working great.